Hello and welcome today to this Widerøe's flight from Bergen to Kristiansand Kjevik Airport. Today we have the storm Floris that's hitting the west and southern parts of Norway with a lot of rain and gusty winds. In Bergen it's been raining pretty hard all day, and Kristiansand is at the moment experiencing quite heavy winds from the southwest. So this should be a nice opportunity to do one of the more challenging approaches from the north coming into runway 21 at Kjevik. As you will see later on, this approach comes down through a valley, and when the winds are westerly and heavy like this, it gets very bumpy on the final part of the approach. So let's jump into the cockpit and get some numbers loaded in so we can start up. First, let's get the fuel page up on the captain's side. Right now 1300 kilos, that's not enough. And we can have a look at our flight plan for today. Yep, that's the wrong one. Let's see in one moment. Here we are. So, from Bergen to Kristiansand Kjevik, Flesland to Kjevik, in our Dash 8, we are scheduled to take off with 2,600 kilos of fuel. That should be enough for this flight. What we might consider on a flight to Kjevik is to bring return fuel if we have a short turnaround, or if it's late and the fuel trucks need to be called out for extra service. But we'll accept 2006 for this one. And if we have a look here, the routing is 17 in Bergen, out to Tuxil on the Tuxil 4 Charlie departure, over to Peveb, Pevek 6 Mike into Kjevik runway 21. That looks good, very standard routing, flight level 210. Maximum we can do is 250, but this is probably due to better winds. If we were to experience a lot of turbulence at this level, we might try to climb higher or have a look at our turbulence charts and see if there's any better lower down. Good. Yeah, quite a lot of wind as well. 267, I think it's about 210, 220 on the ground. So that checks out. Not that high actually up top, but yeah. Okay. Alternate Gardermoen. We'll have a look at that. Another possibility would be to go to Stavanger or back to Bergen. And as usual, SimBrief isn't the best on giving cargo and payload for the Dash 8s. It seems to assume that everyone travels with full bags all the time, something that rarely happens in real life. So we might adjust that down a little bit, but we're well within our maximum limits, so nothing problematic here. Cool, and yeah, same, the wind up top. We're gonna have some quartering headwinds from the right on the first part, and then we might get a little bit of tailwind when we turn eastbound. Good. Let's see. Any NOTAMs? Shouldn't be. And for the maps, this is our routing today, very standard, taking off southbound towards Stavanger, then crossing over to Pebeb. And the usual thing here would be to get a shortcut straight over. Here is the pressure system that's over the west coast at the moment, and they report dangers of severe icing actually. I kind of doubt that, but we'll have a look. So the winds, yeah, should be good along our route. This is for 180, so a little bit lower than our cruising level, but it's mostly tailwinds, side and tailwinds. Good. So let's jump into the cockpit and get some load going. I'm gonna call the pushback as well so they can connect while we do this. So passengers, it's at 68. We very rarely put anything in the forward hold. That would be yeah, for extreme cases where we have either cargo or very full aircraft with holiday seasons, for example. The usual routes we fly during the weekdays and outside of holidays, it's a lot of business travelers, and they don't have large suitcases and stuff like that. It's a lot of carry-ons and smaller bags.
And hatches are closed, ready to connect.
So we'll fill the aft hold and almost fill the forward, about 1,000, that's a lot. Let's do 778. Flight time is approximately 40 minutes. And we want 2,600 for fuel. That gives us a ramp weight of almost 27 tons. Just a little bit less than what SimBrief gave us, but that makes no difference. This is more a reality number. So we'll do load, confirm. We're not going to wait for passengers today, so we're just going to do a fast load and get going with the setup. So we can do a quick flow. We check that the nose wheel steering on the captain's side is off. We can do a W pattern for the scan in the roof. Before start we would put the batteries on, main bus tie on, and external power is on. Everything on the ice protection panel is off, no lights, and we have already done the checks for today. Can have a little bit of light. Normally we wouldn't do that in daytime, but it looks better here. APU is off, start panel is off, and we would double check that the cabin altitude outflow valve is closed and the automation is going with auto. Right now we only need the position lights. External AC power is off. This is mostly used for technicians in the hangar. AC gens on. Recirc fan, just for recirculating air in the cabin, is on. Bleeds off and min. Packs to auto. We have gotten our fuel, and the fueling light is off, so we can fasten seatbelt. No smoking always stays on, and the test switches are centered, and we would arm the emergency lights. In the center, I'm gonna fly from the right side today, so the HSI is on the right side. Spoilers are in taxi, and nav sources are FMS1 and FMS2. Anti-skid has been tested on the first flight, so that's just on. Down here, the normal thing would be FMS1 VOR2 VRR1 and FMS2 on the other side, and range something reasonable. Before takeoff it's usually just at 10. Everything else is off, flaps to 15, and down at the radio panel, tune whatever is reasonable. We can do 1555 for Flesland VOR to have something to help us out. And let's see, it's 1.7 in use, so just in case we need to come back here, we can tune 1099 as a backup on the ILS 1.7. And to complete that, if we do nav selector to VOR, we can change the course to 170. Too much. 170. And the same over here. Yeah, long way around. Good. We would also do go around, heading, and altitude select to prepare for the departure, and we'll have a look at this, but departure clearance out from Bergen is 6,000 feet. Down to the FMS, flight plan from Bergen to Kjevik, Echo November, Charlie November, Kristiansand Lufthavn, and departure runway 17, Tuxil for Charlie, and into Kjevik. Arrive 21, and the PWeb 6 mic arrival, and we'll do, let's see, our nav RMP 21. Let's just go with number 2 via transition Ubeda. Good. Remove the no link, select it, and press delete twice. Very nice. Avitabs sadly crashed the simulator, so I can't show you the maps. I'll just have a read through for the departure. So we start at Bergen, runway 170 to input, and then to Bamlo, Omaxi above 160, ending at Tuxil. After Tuxil, we proceed easterly to PWeb, and one moment. The PWeb 6 mic arrival. That's plate 10 to Alpha, and it starts at PWeb, goes to Solsi above flight level 100, Charlie November 700, between 3,000 feet and flight level 100. Left turn 701, still 6,000 to 100, but it doesn't show it here. Ubeda above 3,000. And then we proceed into the RMP to Nelip, max 230 knots, initial approach fix. And Sotne is our final approach fix at 3,000 feet, continuing down to runway 21. And we'll do the full approach briefing before top of descent and have a look at all the rest. Basic weight, I think this is a bit low, but this is what FlyJSim wants us at. We'll input a total number of people on board. That is 68 plus 4 crew, so 72. We use 0 as passenger weight, because in cargo we include all the weight on board. So let's see. In the OFP it says payload 7,000, that's too high. This doesn't give us the payload directly. So let's see. 27258 minus the fuel. That's that number. So basically what we did was 324 plus 454, 778 as cargo. Then we need to add the passengers. So let's do 70, 72 minus about 900. So payload at about 6172. Let's see what that gives us. 6 here. Yeah, that's not too far off, so we'll go with that. In reality, we would get more accurate numbers in a better format than this. But for this quick flight, we'll live with that. It's within reason anyway. And then for alternate fuel, trip is 715, contingency 274, alternate to Gardermoen is 795. 795. We can put the final reserve 642. Contingency 274. Yeah. This works a little bit different in the real FMS. We can just input the total reserve number and not have to do it up here at all. And it doesn't really matter. If you input a number here and you go below that on fuel on board, you don't get any warnings or anything. It's just a reminder for yourself if you look at the page. So not really a very big deal, but you should put it in there. We are +2 on the UTC, so we can get some correct numbers. Good. And real aircraft, most of them now, they auto sync between the FMSs. So, but we'll do it now and maybe during the flight as well. Good. We have tug connected. All the doors are closed. It's raining. So let's get going. So, pre-flight checklist. Flight deck is check left and right. Battery switches are 4 on, reading 27.8 volts. Altimeters, I forgot to check. That is 982. (982) is set, reading 200, seems a little bit high. So it's probably about to change. It should be 170, 180. Park brake is on. Fuel 2,600 kilos and seat signs are on. Checklist complete. So, ground to cockpit to ground. Are you ready? Depart check complete. Everything is ready. Good. And then we'll ask for a startup from ground. And they confirm start and push. We're gonna do a GPU start today, so we'll start on the stand and then push. Anti-collision goes to red. And the before start flow, check that first. Let's close this door. And just to remove some glare in the cockpit, you can turn off these two lights, and it will remove some light glares from the screens. It seems the door isn't modeled to block light in the FlyJSim. So, before start flow, check that the emergency hatch is closed, that alternate release door is pushed all the way up, and that the button is guarded. Check that the door fueling light is out. I can show you it's fueling on, down right, and doors fuselage. So those two should be closed now. We have it should actually be idle, and then we reduce it to disk when after startup, after unfeathering. So check this idle, and fuel cutoff. Captain calls for before start checklist, and that's doors fuel lights out. Anti-collision is red. Engines are clear right side and clear left side. So cockpit to ground, clear to start number 2. Start number 2. Start select switch to right side. Engine number 2, press start. Check for NH. It rises very quickly here in the sim. Fuel on. You get fuel flow. Hydraulic pressure on number 2 is rising. Also, it's too quick here in the sim, slower in real life. And when we have fuel flow, the ITT will rise and the props will start spinning with a little bit of torque. So the click was the start select switch jumping to the middle, and that starts a timer for the relay on the starter, 15 seconds, and it should go out. Good. And start number 1, clear number 1. Also check that voltage draw on the battery is below 0.30 before starting the next engine. But here in the sim, the batteries are nominal. Same here, we have hydraulic pressure number 1, NH, fuel flow, ITT is rising, prop is spinning, and we have a little bit of torque. That's a good start. Check that the start select light goes out, and we call start complete. Captain would then call a good start. You may disconnect. He would do this. Disconnect GPU. Everything looks good. And we can start the push. What is it now then?
Ground to cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
So we're just going to use the numbers you get from pressing here. What is it? Ah, de-ice pressure. You might get a nuisance warning on that depending when the packs are off and the engines are feathered. But I've never gotten it this many times here in the sim. During the pre-flight we would also calculate the speeds and acceleration altitude. In Bergen it's always 580 feet, so we'll just put that. Maybe dim the screens a bit. Engine displays down here. And we already looked at departure.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
The rest of the brief would be HSI my side, heading ground altitude select, 6,000 feet, 580, speeds are set, and we would look at the calculation. And today I would calculate with max takeoff power due to possibility of wind shear and strong winds. We have a good start, you can disconnect, bye bye, have a nice day. So as soon as he moves away, we can unfeather the props and do our after start flow and checklist.
Flow is disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the right. We'll see you next time. Have a safe flight.
And of course don't forget your TCAS. And if we press this and expand, we can set it to above. We have good starts. We can go to our nav displays here. On the electrics page, the first officer would look for 0.1 or less on the batteries before changing over. And on a day like today, I would go for weather, but since that's not simulated, we'll go with terrain on both sides. Good, and he is gone. Let's bring the props up. This spools up a lot faster than real life. During the spool up, I would press a decrease button for RDC top 5 times if I wanted full 81% reduction. That's the normal thing to do, but not when we have strong winds. So after start flow for the first officer, set the agreed upon takeoff configuration. Flap 5 is very normal. Auto feather select. Tank aux pumps 1 and 2 goes on. Standby head pressures go on. And the isolation valve is tested by pressing it, going full forward and full aft on, I can show you here. Where do we have yokes show? So select that to on, go full forward, full up, look at the PFCS that everything happens like it should be. Take it off, guard it. And in the sim, this pressure drops right away. It doesn't do that in real life. You would have to move the stick a little bit again to make that drop and to make the caution go away. Good. And make sure that you have set the guard frequency and transponder is on. Captain side. Turns off the bus tie, turns on PIDOs and whatever else you need on ice protection panel. First flight, there is also ice protection tests to do. If we're ready to taxi, we can take the light on and we just keep this as it is. 20 seconds after starting up, we can do bleeds on if we want some air on the ground. Depends a little bit on the taxi. Today it's going to be a little bit longer of taxi and the temperatures have dropped, so we can give them a little bit of heat. Test the spoilers to flight, back to taxi. Test rudder. Yaw damper on. Weather radar to standby to warm it up. And then nose wheel steering goes on. After start checklist, bus tie is off. Spoilers, taxi, standby hood, that's the captain reading the first, and the next 3 for the first officer. Standby hood PTO on, normal indications. Auto feather select, tank aux pumps on. Then it's trims. Can do a little bit up. Trims 3 set. Flaps 5 set and checked. All clear, received, checklist complete. Taxi clearance. We'll taxi today from left turn, Mike, Foxtrot, Yankee to holding 17. So cleared left, cleared right. And we would use disc to the ground range to control the speeds. So here's Mike. November's on the other side here. Foxtrot is to the right. And then all the way up on Yankee. So before departure we would do a recap. And today we have the Tuxil 4 Charlie departure up to 6,000 feet on runway 17. V1 and rotate is 127, V2 131. Oh, that's way too fast over taxi speed. Max 30 knots. Not good. Yep, speeds are set. Altitude 6,000 feet. And the first officer replies with altitude select, transponder checked. And we'll do Alpha 3 departure today. Should be more than sufficient for our weights. That's the next left. So we would change to tower. And they would say Widerøe 587. Via Alpha 3, line up and wait, runway 17. Line up and wait, 17, Widerøe 587. So lights go on. Strobe go to white. Let the cabin know we're ready. Turn off the bleeds. And cleared right. Cleared left. TA. Gust locks off. And first officer does a full control check. Good. And the before takeoff checklist is caution warning lights clear, cabin clear received, flight controls checked, and the last one, spoilers flight, checklist complete. Okay, we have runway 17, heading 168, heading 168, my controls. See what's it complaining about. Yeah, that's a nuisance warning. I think it's the de-ice pressure again. So Widerøe 587 clear takeoff 17. Okay, clear takeoff, let's go. Advance to auto feather arm, and then the pilot monitoring goes Power set. 80 knots. V1 rotate. Pause the rate. Gear up. Gear up checked. Select airline. LNAV selected. 400 feet. Flaps 0. Flaps 0 checked. Set climb power 900 and remember to disengage the auto feather before selecting 900 on the props. Climb power set, and then also remember to engage the bleeds. After 1000 feet we can engage the autopilot to make life a little bit easier for ourselves. Climb power set, we would contact the approach and they would most likely say Widerøe 587 identified, climb flight level 170. Flight level 170 set, altitude select. Autopilot is engaged, indicated airspeed 185 for normal climb out. And we'll just keep that going until we get a bit more on top. As we can see, this airspeeds are fluctuating a bit with this wind. We can have a look and see here. Very normal shortcut now would be to go direct to Xil, but that doesn't really save us much. So 170 is set, we can set standard, set and passing 5-8, set and cross-checked. Climb flow is turn off the pumps, check that the gear and flaps are up, and we have pressure. And then it's climb checklist. Gear up, flaps 0, pressurization is checked with bleeds on, norm or max, and we are building differential pressure. Altimeters, standard, checklist complete. We can turn off one of the lights. We'll keep the passengers seated until we get up into clear air. This looks much better. So we are in clear air. We can release the passengers and we can lower the nose. We usually do this with pitch mode, but for some reason that's been a little bit buggy. So I need to disengage and engage the autopilot again and put it down to approximately 5 degrees. So that happened, I think, after the last update. You should be able to just go IS and then press it to get into pitch mode again. It does it, but you can't adjust it. It goes to, I think, go around or something close to that. But if you disengage and engage the autopilot again, you can adjust it. So that's a bug they should look into. Good, we have passed 10,000, can turn off the last light. Everything looks good. We have cabin pressure, and flight attendants are out trying to sell their coffee. And up here we would talk to Polaris Control, and they would give us our final flight level. So let's do 210, altitude select. Always remember altitude select when you get a new altitude. It does not happen automatically. And they would most likely also give us direct PVEP for PVEP 6 mic. Expect runway 21 at Kristiansand. So direct PVEP. So it's very nice above the turbulent wind layer. Maybe there might be some icing in some of these clouds, but I very much doubt it. There are some CB activity in the area, so that's a whole other can of worms, of course. But I don't think these clouds would cause any problems at this time of year. Good, so now it's just climb up to our cruise level and a short cruise segment before we are starting down. So let's just speed up a bit and I'll see you when we are ready for our approach briefing. So here we are coming up on top of descent. I put in a VNAV path of about 2,000 feet, and we were lucky enough to get a shortcut direct to Ubeda on the RMP for 2-1. So let's say we get cleared down to flight level 100. Altitude select, and we can start out with vertical speed minus 500 feet is nice. We get a nice transition, arm the VNAV, and then we just keep an eye out on our descent. We have a little bit of tailwind, but not much today, and we keep an eye out on our speed, since we need to manage that manually. So for the approach RMP 21 into Kristiansand Kjevik Airport, plate 12-2, it gives us, let's see here, beta. It should give us EGNOS channel ID as well. Doesn't seem like it's implemented, but it goes from Ubeda as previously mentioned, and to Nelip above 3000, Sotne final approach fix 3000 feet down to the runway. In case of missed approach, climb on 212 track to Inrat. Let's see, that's here. Enter holding climbing to 3000 feet. So we can do this in the LNAV VNAV. Very nice. And our minima today for LPV Cat 1 category C is 251. So we can put it 260. Speed is increasing now that we have the VNAV captured, so just reduced torque and keep an eye out on the speed. Good. Weather at Kristiansand at the moment, 21 minutes old, is 240, 21 knots gusting 37, so 30 degrees off centerline. From the right, light rain scattered 1900 broken 2004, 15 degrees, and 906. So we can put 996 here on the standby as a reminder. Good. So that's the approach setup. We can press here to get our landing speeds. So VREF will be 124 with this wind today. First of all, these numbers are mixed the wrong way around, at least according to what we do in my company. So let's do add a little bit since it's so gusty today. We can do, let's say 135, 130, and we can add a little bit on that as well. And it was 144 if we need to go around for final takeoff. Speed is increasing, let's decrease the torque. And yeah, it's now, this estimated time of arrival, 7 minutes, is not very accurate. It's based on our current speed. So when we slow down for the inbound turns and go to 200 knots and less, this will increase a little bit. But now is a good time to call the cabin, put on the seatbelt signs, and tell them to prepare for landing. Good. Landing elevation is about 51 feet, so almost zero. We'll just leave it at that. It's not that accurate. I tuned Svansøya VOR. That's a little bit south of the airport. And below it I have the localizer ILS 421 as a backup. And we can hold the format button to bring up the course selector and input 212 to have as a backup in case we want to use the ILS instead. So same on this side. Good. So with the approach briefed, speeds are briefed, we're gonna land flap 15. We're closing in on 10,000 and would contact the tower. And we'll just say they gave us straight down to 3,000 feet now. on QNH 906. Set, passing 11.5, that's set and cross-checked. And call for the approach checklist. Approach briefing is complete. VREF 130. Target speed will be about 35 to 40. And altimeters 906. Set and checklist complete. You can keep the speed at about 240 here. Just keep the range coming down so you are looking at something reasonable at the display, vision display. We need to be below 242-ish when we reach about 8,500 feet, depending on the temperatures. We'll just take it nice and slow now. And I think active sky is, well, it's showing the winds, but it should be a little bit more cloudy here. The airport is down in this valley, at the end of the valley, so we actually have it in sight now. So the final part of the approach is down through the valley. And as you can imagine, when the wind is coming over these mountains towards the airport, this can get very, very bumpy, at least on the very final part of the approach. So it's not unusual to go a little bit above the glide, at least if you are visual in here. If the winds are not favoring 03, but it's permissible even with a little bit of tailwind, it can be better to come in from the south and just land the opposite direction. It's less bumpy. And I let the speed get ahead of me again. Not good. Let's do the speed. As you can see, it was the 8,000 that caught me. So this is not a big deal in calm weather, I would call maintenance anyway. But let's just keep it coming. We can do VNav to beta and get a new profile, automate captured, and keep the props at idle. Let the speed come down now. When it captures the profile, it's gonna dip down about 2,000 feet again. So, and from Ubeda into Nelip, it's just 5 miles. So we have 6.5 miles to Nelip now. And if we look at nav window, nav page, approach is armed. That happens within 30 miles of the airport. We're below 10,000. Let's not forget everything here now. Lights go on, seat signs are on, and standby hydraulic pumps and tank ox pumps comes on. That's the approach flow to be done at 10,000. So here's the airport with Kristiansand town on the other side. You have to actually drive all the way around over here to get to it. So it's about a 20-minute ride to the city center. Here comes our inbound turn. Let's just keep idle and watch the speed. And today we're gonna land with condition levers max. No reduced landing with this wind and potential for turbulence. Active sky is catching up with us. Clouds are coming in. And the speed is starting to fluctuate. If we want to slow down now, we can use the condition levers. It's more effective in the real aircraft than in the sim, in my opinion. We have plus 9 degrees, and we have all. We have the approach is active, so we turn off altitude select. 3,000 feet is staying put for the missed approach. And we have contact. That's more reasonable according to the METAR. So it should be about 18 knots headwind, 10 knots crosswind from the right. We'll keep the speeds here, and at Sotna we do a altitude check. From Sotna it's 7.8 miles. Let's be configured before 5 miles. Just keep an eye out. Keep an eye on the speed now. Radio height 996 passing 27. We passed Sotna at 3000. Final approach fix altitude checked. More important, of course, when you're in IMC. 6 miles, flap 5, gear down. That also means leads to min. Cabin call. Flap 5 set and checked. Keep the speed coming down. At 180 we can do flaps 10, at 170 flaps 15, or more accurately 172. But with these gusts we're gonna go a little bit below. It's pretty normal to go flap 5, gear, flap 15. Flap 15. Condition levers max. That's a big downdraft. Flap 15 set and checked. Landing checklist. Gear down through green. Flaps 15 set and checked. Condition levels max. Wings checked left. Checked right. Cabin clear received. Checklist complete. And we are clear to land. Yeah, look at these winds now. This can be pretty bad in real life. Very choppy motions. So just work with the throttles here, but not let the speed get away from us as well in any direction. So I'll do autopilot disengage now. Watch the flap speeds. More speed is better than less speed here. This is an X-Plane and FlyJSim bug. I get this even at airports with no terrain, so. But we're on the Pappies, on the glide. Terrain. Disregard. Terrain. These power lines are unfamiliar. Keep it coming down. Watch the speed. Terrain.
100. Sync rate. 50, 40, 30, 20.
Fly down.
10.
And disc. Very rare to use reversers. I'm not gonna taxi to the end here anyway. Let's call 60 knots. Control locks on. And captain takes control. So you can see the ground speed is 40. So the first officer would start his after landing flow with taking the flaps up. We'll just vacate the runway before doing anything else. Good. So the flow continues in the overhead panel. We'll just stop here for a moment. Single pilot operations are harder. So main bus tie goes on, all the ice protection stuff goes off, landing lights off, beacon to red, and if we were to taxi one engine, turn off number 1 bleed. Spoilers to taxi, yaw damper off, and if the captain is flying the next leg, change the HSI. Turn off fuel pumps, but leave the standby hydraulics on in case of engine failures, so we can keep brake pressure and other hydraulic functions. Fuel system to get the right displays ready for fueling and turnaround, and weather radar goes back off. Good, let's taxi to our stand. So here, let's take stand 13. Taxi light goes off, of course. It's good, parking brake is set. And engines to disk. Let's ask for the ground power. Can release the cabin. Connecting GPU, okay, good. And then we're waiting for external power and to hear that the fans start spinning. Good, it's connected. 30 seconds cool down. Let's do this. Off. And when the props stop spinning, beacon goes off. So that's it. We have arrived. Let's do the shutdown checklist. Park brake is on, nose wheel steering goes off. External power is on and battery switches are 4 off when we are on external power. If we were to run on the APU, we would leave the batteries on. So that's it. We're not gonna do the secure now, but we can start unloading, release the passengers. So welcome here to Kristiansand Kjevik Airport on this rainy day with storm Floris hitting the southern part of Norway. As you can see, even here in the simulator, there are a lot of gusts, bumps, not as hard as you would feel it in real life, but there was certainly some ballooning and wind shears going on. The Dash 8 does not have a wind shear warning system, so we don't have anything to tell us to go around. To get a sink rate in that valley is not unusual. It might very well happen when the winds are like this or anything that's from the west, either southwest, west, or northwest. That valley becomes a turbulent place. So, and the ground handling is, I don't think it's the best. Might be the sim, might be the add-on. One thing is that the nose takes a time to come down after landing in this Dash 8. It's not that slow to come down in real life. Here I feel I have to push it down, and in real life I will gently let it down with back pressure on the stick instead. Here I have to keep forward pressure to get the nose wheel to come down. Not very realistic in my opinion. I've heard someone say that they had experienced that if you go to reversers too soon, you might get the nose to lift again. Never had that, but then again, we very rarely use the reversers. It's mostly just disc. And that keeps the nose coming down very nicely. So a little bit of wiggling on the ground is just, I feel it's the poor ground physics of the aircrafts, but surprisingly nice landing considering how the winds are here today. So hope you enjoyed this, and let me know if you want any more Dash 8 content, special approaches and stuff like that. It's fun to go out and fly in some challenging conditions, and it would be fun to do that in other parts of the world as well. Some tutorials will be coming, and of course very much looking forward to getting to fly the Dash 8 in Microsoft Flight Simulator, hopefully later this year or next year, if Majestic gets their product up and running. It looks very good now on the preview renders we've seen. So that will be a real treat, and I plan to fly the heck out of that thing when it reaches us. So please have a nice day, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments if there's anything else you would like to see. Have a nice day.